this episode of the People Will Talk podcast. Not in the studio, but I do have Maria next to me. Where are we? Can you fill us in?
Hello. I'm very well, thank you. You haven't asked me, but I'm saying anyway. We're at the Majadahonda Book Fair. So it's a town in the outskirts of Madrid. So we're here for 4 days. We have 2 left, today and tomorrow. Just selling all the Ybernia books. And so far we've had a lot of success, I would say. We have spoken to many people, some very interesting stories. A lot of people have taken the cards because they wanted to get in touch later on and all that. So yeah, we're very happy so far.
And we are here at the fair, so we have a literary soundscape of people milling around, perusing books. And it's a really interesting experience. We'll get into the characters, not of the books, but the people we've met in a few moments, but just the kind of lulls and the currents of being at a book fair, how it's kind of slow in certain moments, and then suddenly there's a mad rush of people. But it's been tremendous. The only thing I can complain about is just directly behind our puesto, our stall, is a bush where people seemingly urinate during the night. And every morning there's an odor. But apart from that, we've been treated very well and we've had an amazing time here. We're having an amazing time here. Today is Saturday. As Maria, you said, it's day 3 of the 4-day stint. And today's an amazing day because we have Dermot Miller of The Way signing his book in the morning, the acclaimed Dennis Rafter in the afternoon, and Janito with his poetry book in the afternoon signing books. It's absolutely amazing. I'm hoping somebody interrupts us during this podcast so we get the whole vibe of us desperately selling our wares, but we'll see how it comes. This is all in the moment, natural, and pretty amazing. So, well, apart from this book fair, there's a carpet, there's a tent where you have storytellers for kids and adults. There's a clown on the third. I don't mean that in a derogatory way, an actual clown, a magician, and there's a market today as well. So, Majadahonda, I always assumed you were from Madrid, but it's not actually Madrid. It's this thriving urban centre. There's lots of movement and fairs. Is that fair to say?
Well, first of all, I'm not from Madrid in any case, as you will know, and you keep saying to people. But I feel like a lot of people that live here maybe don't go down to Madrid so much. I guess there's everything here in general. So not much need to move. It's kind of like in a town in the outskirts, halfway, probably the first one on the way to the mountains, because for like the people that think Spain is just a flat country, we do have a lot of mountains, and around Madrid there's a lot of mountains, so you can actually see the mountains from here, so that'd be surprising for some people, I guess.
Well, walking around yesterday, going to the post office, sending books to our beloved customers, there were some low houses and cottages. I think, where I live as well in Madrid, you get that sense of this used to be a village far from Madrid. Now it's all interconnected, but you still have those vestiges, those old houses, which is curious. And you also have... Sorry for the trailing off there. We had a potential customer alert. Anyway, they kept walking. They'll come back. So you can get this idea of what it was like in the past. There's lots of murals and amazing things around here. My first time here, and I'm enjoying it. Now with the books, we've had we have outside our stall books in English. People walk past and go, oh wow, and sometimes they come over, other times they don't. But of the people we've spoken to, we've actually met a lot of people who have a surprising Irish connection, don't they?
Yes, the first day we met a couple of descendants of Irish people. One of them, I think it was just her grandfather, but the other one kind of traced their family back to like the 17th century of Irish Catholic just coming over to Spain. So that's quite peculiar because obviously we talk a lot about that in the tour, and we've mentioned in the podcast a lot of the time. We've written articles, so it was just quite funny to meet somebody who could actually trace their ancestry back to a place in Ireland as well.
Well, it came in waves because there was the guy who bought our kids' book talking about how his brothers went to Ireland in the summer, right? And then there's that's pretty standard. Then you had that woman whose daughter was married to an Irish guy,
Yeah.
and she said Irish people are good looking and cool and full of crack.
It's so nice.
But-
Apart from what?
Yeah, but thank God she's divorced from him because he was an absolute insert expletive here. Yeah. So but she bought a book, which is great. She bought actually our book about Crater in La Vida, which is with an Irish protagonist. So really happy with that. And then the third woman, her surname is a very Irish surname, and she was talking about Ireland, being there, Irish bars in Madrid, and then she came back and asked me, I never asked you, Enda, where you're from, and I said the town where I'm from. I won't say where it is, just in case. Anyway, but
Your parents get threats.
but her family emigrated from there in the 70s and 80s, having had a big, rich history from the 1800s, kind of migrating from different parts of Limerick and Cork to the UK and back, and then eventually leaving for Spain as well.
Yeah, no, it was pretty incredible. I mean, the whole story was already good enough, but then when it happened to be exactly from the same place as you, considering it's a pretty small place, it was just, it was amazing. I mean, the coincidence, the chances.
Then we met a guy who, because we have a book about the way, and that really attracts a lot of Spanish people's attention because, of course, it's such an integral part of Spanish culture. And there's a guy who really wanted to read it but had no English, and he's kept talking about the movie starring directed by Emilio Estevez and starring Martin Sheen. A lot of people seem to think his book is the literary adaptation of that movie, which it's not. But he spoke quite at length about his experiences there as well. Do you remember what he said?
Well, I mean, I think he was part of like a Facebook group or something of like fans of the Camino, and a lot of people contact him because he knows quite a lot. But he was mentioning about the different reasons why people do it, the different nationalities involved, how it means something different for different people. Like some of them have a religious motivation, some of them have a more sort of esoteric motivation, whatever, which are elements that are in the book. So it was interesting from that point of view, because like that element of history mixed with the different reasons why people do it, which obviously in the book there's a big reason for the protagonist to do the Camino. And then also that reflection on all the nationalities that do it, that you can meet there as well along the way. Those were all elements that are in the book, so that was quite interesting to hear how people really connect with those things.
Before we continue talking about these amazing characters, when someone this is 101 for people who want to have a book fair experience. When someone approaches, you say hello, do you leave them alone? If they're browsing, do you kind of step in and go, can I help you, madam? Or what do you do?
Yeah.
What's the etiquette here? What's the trick?
Well, I mean, I don't think there's an etiquette. Obviously, different people have different ways of doing it. Actually, yesterday, a girl passed by and I heard her saying, well, it looked like she was really trying to ram the book, like she's really like trying to very aggressively get me to buy. It was very obvious and stuff. And it's interesting to see how people react, because I would imagine, or I don't know, I'm a bit like that. Like, I prefer being left alone. But obviously, you like saying hi, you don't like being ignored by people. And for me, it always gives me a bad impression if you're browsing, like the person just completely ignores you. So I like saying hi, and obviously we both do. And then, many people don't reply, but hey, what can you do? And then, if they are already browsing and looking at a book and they spend a little bit of time, then maybe, if you need any help or if you want to ask us anything, then please do. And I think that's maybe enough.
Yeah, I think it's like a perfunctory, hey, hola, buenas. And then we've had talkers that actually worked a treat the last time, ¿cómo estás? Because normally people say, ¿qué tal? And that's like a question which does not invite an answer. But if it's like, ¿cómo estás? That actually kind of go, oh, I'm fine, how are you? Though yesterday I said that to somebody and they asked me, how are you? I'm fine, thank you. And because I didn't ask them how they were, I think they were a little bit annoyed,
Oh.
So,
Well, it's always, I mean, I guess like the ¿qué tal? Like how well, we have to say, I don't know how you would divide it in English, but basically when you say ¿qué tal? It's like, right, you don't really expect an answer. But then, yeah, when you ask like, how are you? Yeah, most people feel good because you seem to be taking an interest.
Yeah, well, I think as well the people who want to know will just ask, and we've had a couple of talkers really interested. Funnily enough, women who've had like sons or who've been to Ireland or who have daughters, they want to learn English, and then
Actually, yesterday, there was even a woman that was saying, can you just tell me what all the books are about? And she wanted to buy a book in English because her daughter was like half English. But virtually, I had to add summary of every single book. And in the end, she bought our book in Spanish anyway.
Yeah. Well, the kids never want, like they ask the kids, what book do you want? I don't want one. But then the parents step in and do the necessary. But yeah, because I went to the bathroom and I came back, I saw you like very deep in conversation. I was like, I can smell a sail, maybe a snail as well. Who knows?
Snails are piling up now.
But going back to our cast of characters, I think we can talk about our Colombian friend and our friend from Iran before we wrap up this podcast. So yeah, I guess the Colombian fella, he has an interesting story. He wanted to sell his books at our stall. We did not know him, but because, just to be nice, we bought his book, which is about magic. He taught us a magic trick as well. But he kind of explained his story to us, which is like his wife was a public servant in their country and was being threatened and came here for security because Spain is a very safe country. It just goes to show just that people open themselves up here at book fairs, and you just come across people who love books but also have these different tapestries and kind of origins, and you just get exposed to so much and so many different kind of elements. But and then we sold 2 books to a really interesting cultured guy from Iran, and also the magazine, the Madrid Review. And he had a great conversation with us, but maybe you want to tell us a little bit more about that interaction.
Well, it was just nice because, I don't know, like some people just literally ask you, oh, what is this about? And then they really say, oh, this is very interesting. And for example, he was saying, oh, that's very creative and for our books, so that was nice. Like you could tell that he had a genuine interest. So then, when they take the time to speak to you and all that, and you also ask them like where they're from, and then they tell you a little bit about where they've lived and all this. And just generally having a conversation about it's not like trying to push a sale or whatever, or trying to explain very fast. It's like actually having a conversation about things that you have in common and things that interest this person. Obviously, he liked the idea with him being bilingual, because even if he was from Iran, he spoke like perfect English and perfect Spanish as well. So then, yeah, obviously our books are in English and Spanish, so there were a lot of things that were interesting for him and for us. So it was a nice interaction, really.
And here, just surrounding us as well, apart from the urination bush, we have bookshops. We have a puesto or a stall selling old kind of vintage books. There's comic books. There's everything really. Lots of kids' books as well, which are very popular. Kids are big purchasers vicariously through their parents of books. It's a big market, seemingly. Yeah.
Hola, buenos días.
So yeah, it's filling up now. So we had some interest there. I think we'll take this point to wrap up the podcast, because we're going to get busy now selling books, and we have our writers coming in later as well. So from Majadahonda Book Fair, goodbye.
Bye.